Hey, hi everyone. So, welcome to my YouTube channel. And so, today in this video, we will be creating an SFTP server using the AWS S3 and AWS Transfer family. So, we'll be using AWS S3 bucket as our SFTP storage. Yeah, so let's start it. So, I'm in my AWS account. So, first thing we will do is we will just create an S3 bucket and that will be used as our SFTP storage. So I will go to S3 and I will create a bucket. Reason you can choose anything, and bucket name would be say SFTP bucket, and it should be unique. And ACL will be I will use all the default settings, and I'll just create a bucket. Okay, bucket name is already exist, so SFTP bucket YT you can say. So yeah, our bucket is ready, and now we'll be creating some elastic IPs to attach in our VPC. So I will go to PC2, and from here I can create an elastic IP, allocate, and just use the default settings and allocate. Yeah. Now the next step is we will go to AWS transfer family, and here we'll create a server, and from server you can choose the SFTP SSH file transfer protocol. Click on next. We will be using the server managed, so AWS will manage all the things here, and we will use as VPC hosted, so we can control the access using security groups, and access will be internet facing, so anyone can connect using the endpoint URL, username, and the key, and hostname will be default used with AWS, and we will just use a default VPC and choose any availability zone. You can choose multiple as well, but you should have elastic IPs for that. So I will be using only one AP South 1A and default subnet, and the private IP we just created, we will use that. And security group, we can create a new security group from here, and it should be outbound is we don't want any outbound, but we will use an inbound, and that will be SSH, and it can be accessible from anywhere. And we will just create a set a name, so we can say SFTP security group, and just create a security group. We'll just do the same thing, create security group. Okay, our security group is ready, and we'll just refresh it and just attach this one and deselect this one. So we have used the SFTP security group, and click on next. So we'll be using storage thing. So we will using Amazon S3 as a storage, and log group you can create a new or choose an existing one. I am going with create new group, and nothing to change here. SSH keys, don't change anything here, and do additional configuration. And okay, I will going with all the default settings. Click on next, and these are the details to verify. Yeah, so just create. So we'll create our transfer family here for SFTP, and now meanwhile, when it is creating, we'll just need to create one role and one policy as well to attach with this server. So as you can see, currently we have no default users, so we will be using it. We will create a new users after creating the policy and role. So let's go to IAM. From IAM, we will just create a policy first that will allow that user to access the S3. So we'll create a new policy. Service will be using S3, and either you can set it as all S3 action, or you can uh, choose from these list. So I will be going with all list access, all read access, and all write access. That's what I am going with. And after that, you need to assign something here. So access point, I'll be using any in this account. Bucket, either you can allow all the buckets, but I would suggest to add an ARN of our bucket we created. So we'll just copy the ARN from our S3 so that user can access only this S3 bucket, not other. We'll copy the ARN, paste it here, and add ARN. And along with that, I will be using the access to object. So any object in that bucket. And okay, so we'll have access point, bucket, and the object access, right? And just click on next. So policy name, I would say SFTP policy, and you can see the access level, read, write, and list, create policy. And after that, I will create a role for that, and say AWS service use case will be transfer. So this role will be used to transfer the data. And next, and here we need to attach a policy that will allow the transfer on that S3 bucket. So we just created that policy. We'll use that SFTP policy. This select and next. Role name would be SFTP role. You can choose anything like role, and these will be default settings for the transfer. And just create a role. Okay, role with same name. SFTP role already. Just okay, we will use a different name. SFTP role new, or we will say YT creator. Okay, so our role is ready. Policy is also ready. So let's go to AWS transfer family. So as you can see, it is currently offline. So we just need to start it from here. And you can say you are saying we don't have any endpoint yet. So let's wait for start it online. Okay, currently the access is internal, so we need to change this to external. So what we will do is we'll just stop it first. So let's wait for it to stop. Okay, now it is offline. So we'll go to server and we'll edit the endpoint details. And from internal, it should be in internet facing, and choose the availability zone and choose IP. So as you see, we also uh, choose the internet facing, but we just changed this page, so that's why it was updated to internet internal. Uh, so we can update it like this and click on save. So now as you can see, we have an endpoint as well, and our bucket is offline, so we can mark it as online. Start. And so now we need a SFTP user as well to connect with our SFTP server. So we'll just click on add user. You can add a name. So I would say SFTP user, and role which we just created, SFTP role YT. This was the new one, and this was the old one. So I'll use SFTP role YT, and policy would say choose the default policies. Home directory would be, so here we need to choose the S3 bucket, like which S3 bucket you want to give access so to this user. So I would say SFTP bucket, and any if you want any specific folder access you can choose here, or but I want access from the root, and we can say this restricted so user cannot see any other bucket and any other folder outside this bucket. So here we need to give a SSH public key. So what we can do is we will use the SSH keygen command to generate a public and private key, and we will add the public key in here. So how we can generate a public key is go to terminal, just clear, go to terminal, and you can type SSH hyphen hyphen T. We will be using RSA key and hyphen B the size 2048 and click enter. And I would say to give a name as well. So we can use hyphen F. Uh, so let's say YT tutorial, click enter. Submitting, just click enter with the default settings. And if you ls in here, so by default keys are created in your .ssh directory. So as you can see, we'll have two new files, YT tutorial. This is a private key, and YT tutorial.pub. It is a public key. So what we will do, we will just copy the content of this YT tutorial.public key. So we will use cat command, cat YT tutorial.public key, and this is the URL. This is our public key. So we'll use this public key, copy it and paste it here and click on add. So now our user is set up, our endpoint is there, and let's try to connect with SSH using this key. So what we'll do is we'll just copy this endpoint URL, and to connect using SSH, we can use SFTP command, SFTP hyphen I. The so here you need to specify the private key. So private key is YT tutorial, and now we need to specify the username. So our username is this SFTP user at the rate the endpoint URL. You enter. So it will be asking to save the fingerprints. You can say yes, it's added. And yeah, as you can see, we are now on our SFTP server. You can create ls. So currently your bucket is empty, so I am creating a new file mkdir say test. It is created if I choose ls, and now as well this you can see all the objects in here as well. So we created a new folder. If you reload it, you can see we have a new folder test. And even after that, if you upload any file here, so I would say one.txt, let's upload this and upload. And if I check here, cd test, you can see I can see this file in here. So along with that, you can use the same detail to connect using FileZilla or CyberDuck. So let's check with CyberDuck how we can connect on CyberDuck. So I will just open a connection. So server will be the endpoint URL. So server is this endpoint URL, and username would be SFTP user. So instead of private password, we will be using private key config. From here, we need to change it to SFTP, and you can choose all the listed files. So yeah, so we can see YT tutorial and connect. Okay, yeah, as you can see, we are now on our SFTP, and you can see the path is currently at the root level, and you can just download, upload anything you can do. Anything you want, you can do. So I'm just downloading this file again on SFTP. Okay, yeah, you can see it is downloaded. So yeah, that's all in today's video. Let's catch up later.